Ted Robinson, Mary Carrillo, and John McEnroe.
Well, thanks very much, Jimmy. And as you point out, this is a terrific day, and we'll be trying to show you the best of it here on Court 1. The stage for the moment, it's Andre Agassi and Mark Philippoussis. Andre Agassi, who this year won the Australian Open for the 4th time, said he feels so good down there he thinks he's half Aussie. And in fact, his Wimbledon run twice has been ended by an Aussie serve and volleyer, Patrick Rafter, in 2000 and 2001. And today he meets another strong Aussie serve and volleyer who is still alive after numerous injuries and battles. Mark Philippoussis on the one court where he's played his best tennis.
Well, maybe he thinks he's half American because he lives in the San Diego area. But they both played very well on this surface here at Wimbledon.
Percent. Play.
Philippoussis is the guy. You'll see. It won't take long to see that he virtually goes for 2 first serves. I mean, he puts a lot of heat on the second serve as well. Which is why you'll see him double fault fairly often.
Philippoussis at 26. There's his home in Southern California. Needed a wild card to play here last year. Got straight into the draw this year.
There it is. 128 on his second serve.
No, he can't hit second serves, Mary, that hard. That was a first serve.
I mean, on the second point, I should say. The first point, he was 96 miles an hour. He's just warming up. I guess he's loose already.
Right. It means the scud is still in the arsenal.
There we are.
30-15.
So double fault, 2 aces. Welcome to Philippoussis.
Yeah. Agassi hasn't hit a ball yet.
He's played a clay court player. Zabaleta he beat rather easily. Stepanek has come a long way. He's considered a double specialist. That was close. Philippoussis was down in both those tiebreakers. Now, 3 knee surgeries later, we were all here in '99 when he was playing so well against Pete Sampras in the quarters. A setup, chance to break in the second before the knee went out on him. Simple. Agassi wants to make him work and bend. He's not as comfortable his movement on this surface, but you hit serves like that, you don't have to move. That went up to 134 miles per hour.
And Andre at least was able to touch that ball.
He's touched, if you want to look at the bright side, he's touched 2 of those serves. Of course, they've gone backwards.
Philippoussis had 33 aces in that win over Stepanek.
Yeah, you really thought for sure this guy was going to break through and win majors. He had gotten to the finals of the Open in '98 where he lost to his countryman Rafter. He'd moved to the match I talked about with Sampras at Wimbledon. And then it's just been a long, hard battle since.
But more than his physical problems have been Philippoussis' way of life. Really, ever since he became a pro. Only now is he realizing that at age 26, he better make something happen soon. He goofed around a lot. He partied hard. If he had been physically fitter all these years, maybe he would have had those big results.
Maybe he wouldn't have had all those injuries either.
One of his injuries came from a surfboard accident.
15.
And this guy's he's a big skydiver. Hurt himself on a motorcycle once.
And then the last one, which was the most insane one after all the fight he had to come back, he went snowboarding in Whistler, British Columbia.
Yeah.
About a year and a half ago, hurt the knee again.
Meanwhile, he's playing a man who, for many years, has lived in a cult of self-denial. Spartan. A man who's gotten every bit out of his body and mind in the last years of his career.
I don't think coincidence that since he's been with Steffi Graf, who is a fanatic for fitness, trained extremely hard, that Agassi has gotten himself as fit as ever.
They've played once before here at Wimbledon. It was a quarterfinal match 3 years ago.
Agassi likes this matchup, even on grass, which is where Philippoussis is the most dangerous. Andre figures if he can spit back some returns, he's good in the point.
We saw Mary when we talked to him yesterday how well prepared he is for this match. Excellent idea of what he'd like to do against Philippoussis. You can see already in 2 games what his best chance is the fact that Philippoussis he's got to serve just as good or better than he ever has. And ominous clouds.
Just in case you thought that this tournament had moved to Bermuda during the first week. The second Monday arrives just to let us all know that indeed we're back in London. And I start to see an umbrella or two popping up here in court 1.
See that coming. Just couldn't get under it enough. Stayed low. But I almost worry from up above here watching this match that this court gets wet with a guy like Philippoussis, who he's always struggled with movement on this surface to me, and particularly after what he's been through, 3 surgeries, numerous other injuries. You remember at the Open last year, first round, when he went up to try to hit a backhand lob and just came down right on his ankle. It looked like maybe the knee had gone as well, and then you thought surely career was over, but thankfully it turned out to be just for him, a minor injury, badly sprained ankle.
Love.
Ladies and gentlemen, play suspended.
After Andre wins the first point that he's won on Philippoussis' serve, there had been a double fall in the first game. Now the rains come, and they'll cover the courts in the tradition here at the All England Club in about 15 seconds.
Andre Agassi is facing...
He's going to get trampled here.
He's facing 2 forces of nature. I mean, this weather and Philippoussis. I mean, it's like playing a tornado.
We've almost lost him.
Andre, if you don't get your bag out of the way fast here, you're in trouble. I mean, they do such a marvelous job here of spreading covers over these courts.
One of those days, folks.
And yes, it is the first one of the championships, Wimbledon 2003. Just 3 games into this 4th round match. Well, the courts have been uncovered across the grounds of the All England Club this mid-Monday afternoon. We welcome you back live for those of you in the Eastern time zone, and basically we're just waiting for players now. The weather has cooperated for the moment, and we're poised for tennis to resume as we await the arrival of Andre Agassi and Mark Philippoussis back onto court 1, where their match was interrupted in the 3rd game of the first set.
Well, I'm going to say the rain delay favored Agassi because he doesn't stretch or massage anyway. So for him, he comes on and off the court. He's known as an incredibly quick starter. And Philippoussis, whose 3 knee surgeries were 4 days after that Sampras match in the court, as we talked about, 99, July 6th, again in December 20th of 2000, March 29th of 2001 is 3rd. That near miss at the Open. So you would imagine the big man from down under takes a little bit longer to get going.
He has to have injections, Mark Philippoussis, of synthetic cartilage into that left knee so that he can continue to play.
Which leads me to believe that enjoy what you're seeing now, because you're not going to be seeing him for hopefully we'll see him a few more years, because he is a good kid.
He's never been fitter than he is right now. He's really been working on his fitness level.
He claims that the surfing that he does is what's gotten him fitter, and then being out there in the water has actually helped his body. Well, hopefully he's
how many young tennis players love hearing that.
Hopefully he's spending some time on the tennis court.
Another hour hitting balls. No way. I got to go out and surf,
go
coach.
Surf.
Well, as you see, everyone is in place. Everyone is ready, and we are just awaiting the return of the players onto court. They will be given a warm-up period once they do return. And as always, there is no more patient audience than the spectators at Wimbledon. We'll return. This is really one of the most amazing sights and sounds in all of sport. And I mentioned that as we sit here on court one, really for the lack of sound. When you get accustomed in America to sporting events and the incredible torrent of noise, to sit here at Wimbledon as these spectators did, waiting for these players to come back in complete silence. There's something beautiful about that.
Preternatural.
Up to a few years ago, Ted, the fans, if it rained all day, did not get a refund. No money back. I mean, that's incredible that they could get away with that. They've altered their rules now, thankfully. And now if they get less than 2 hours play, they get half of the money back. More, then they'll have to show how much the patience they are and how much you see that year after year, how much they love their tennis, how much they know about it.
Well, here's a look at the oldest man to ever hold the #1 rank, and it's up for grabs here. Juan Carlos Ferrero, the French Open champ, is threatening that #1 rank based on the results here at Wimbledon. Yet a remarkable year at 33, 33 and 4.
Yeah, that includes already 4 tournaments. And you can see that so far he's worked his way through the draw. I mean, Delgado was surprised to take a set. Elanawi, who's become quite an opponent to bring out the best in you, did so with Agassi. A tough 4-set, fantastic third-round match. They've had a lot of warming up out there. Haven't played many games. There's the bad news for Philippoussis. And the one he won was the first time they had played.
They've played twice this year on hard courts, indoor in San Jose, outdoor in Miami. Agassi winning both. And of course, we mentioned earlier they had a quarterfinal, or excuse me, round of 16 battle here in 2000. Agassi winning that straight sets.
I like the quote from Mark Philippoussis' dad. You know, we were talking about the surfing. He says that it's a good environment for Mark, and that the people he'll be surfing with there are not party people who stay up until 5 in the morning. They're serious athletes who are up at 6 and go to real jobs after surfing. They might have found the 2 or 3 surfers in the world that think that way.
And Philippoussis is an Aussie, but has lived much of his professional tennis life in the United States. Moved last fall from Miami to
where he had a lot of
California.
laps.
Yes.
Hang around. So yes, he's in a much better environment.
And has also apparently rectified things with the Aussie Davis Cup team after some rifts through the years, and he's back playing and will play for the Aussies in their semifinal tie in September.
One of my friends out in California is, I don't know if you heard of Laird Hamilton, who's one of the all-time great surfers. He's looking to ride, you ready for this, the first 100-foot wave. I mean, he goes around the world searching for these potential opportunities. I mean, and these guys aren't crazy.
I've known you a long time. I had no idea you were a surfing guy.
No, I watch from the shore with the beer in my hand.
Well, we are live with you in the Eastern Time Zone. Glad to have you with us as they conclude their warm-up. We'll come back with the resumption of Agassi and Philippoussis. .30 in the afternoon in London, and tennis has resumed on all courts. And we are with you live in the Eastern Time Zone. We'll be tracking Andy Roddick, who's back on center court against Paradorn Srishapan. So we hope you'll stay with us for what should be a very entertaining 2.5 hours of tennis on this wonderful day at Wimbledon.
I think we can expect Andre Agassi to serve more to the Philippoussis backhand, and in fact try to find the backhand more often than not today. It's his weaker side.
15-all.
As he did there.
It also opens up the court. He can pull that ball cross court. He certainly moves around the court far better than Mark Philippoussis. If he can get a big percentage of first serves, he's going to dare Philippoussis to try to hit a big return. He's not going to make a lot of those. Return of serve, not his forte. That point illustrated, though, is how strong 26-year-old Mark Philippoussis is. He just muscled that forehand to the deep part of the court.
That's why he doesn't have to move as well as Agassi. He's got a big old wingspan, and he's got an awful lot of power.
That looked just long. That was a good overrule.
40-30.
One of the reasons why Andre has such an advantage over Philippoussis in all their past meetings, except for one, is that he returns so much more effectively than Philippoussis, much more consistently than Mark. So if he takes care of his own serve, he likes his chances a lot.
2-all first set. Log on to wimbledon.msnbc.com. Right now you can check out why Bud Collins believes a new coach has made a world of difference for Andy Roddick. And real-time scoring of all matches brought to you by British Airways. All at wimbledon.msnbc.com.
It's unusual. I've watched Andre play hundreds of times, and he's as far back as I've ever seen him trying to return this obviously big serve from Philippoussis. He's got to be easy 5 feet behind the baseline, maybe more.
Now look at the bombs he's throwing in already. 129 and 130.
Now have a look at how huge his serve is. Look at his second serve. Average is 108, and he struck one at almost 130. Andre Agassi's average first serve is 109.
40-love.
Philippoussis was someone who was a young kid, just went out and practiced serves on a regular basis, buckets and buckets of serves, hitting them, as he said, is just as hard as he possibly could. Because it helps he's 6'4" now too.
His first few service games have been dominant.
Philippoussis leads.
Move quickly back to court one, and Mr. Agassi,
That's who he beat.
who's down love 30 here.
Second round, Andre Agassi lost to Srishipan on the same day that Pete Sampras lost to George Bastel.
That's a fantastic point there.
Well,
it's good to see Philippoussis moving.
I was just going to say, that answers any question you have about his ability to move.
But right there, the full stretch. He needed every inch of that 6'4" frame. But that's the shot, the best one of them all, that he got down as low as he did. That's at the end of a long, tough point. And this is Philippoussis' chance here to perhaps win this first set at love 40 here. The way he's serving right now. It's got to be winded from that previous point. So Agassi just spins the first serve in and gets the error.
And would you presume that Andre will just keep doing that, keep running him every step he can?
30-40.
Without a question. And he does that to all of his opponents. It seems they run twice as much as he does in a match, which will pay dividends later on as well. Philippoussis needs to take advantage of this third chance.
He wanted a forehand, didn't he?
Now, is Philippoussis dancing around there to try to confuse Andre? Is that a distraction tactic?
It's legal, and it's something that's a good idea to try to throw off the server, so the server doesn't know what you're going to do. He got his forehand that time there.
Advantage Philippoussis.
Meanwhile, the first break on center court to Roddick. Agassi now facing a fourth break point. Philippoussis had 13 break points in his last match against Stepanek and won only one.
Advantage Philippoussis.
And now Philippoussis gets a fifth chance in this game.
And Agassi's only won 3 points off Philippoussis' serve.
That's out. And so on the fifth chance, Philippoussis gets the break.
That is very well deserved. I mean, it is good to see him playing as well as he is right now. Can he keep it up? Well, that's another issue. But he is hitting the ball very cleanly out there, and Agassi's feeling that pressure and that power.
So the Grand Slam record of Mark Philippoussis in that final, where he lost to Rafter in Flushing. Quarter's the best result here.
He was playing like this the following Wimbledon when he played Pete Sampras and won the first set and had a chance to break early in the second before he hurt his knee. And it's been a long time that Philippoussis had to wait to get a chance like this again.
30 love.
So far, he is certainly making the most of it.
This is his 6th ace, and he's serving at 82%. It's not like he's just sort of bunting the ball in.
These aren't melons. These are BBs.
And this is a place where he succeeds. This is the 5th straight time that Philippoussis has played Wimbledon and reached at least this round of 16. And the way he's serving right now, you realize this first set is in his pocket.
That's what they said at Rosetsky when he was up 5-2 against Roddick in the third, having not lost his set the entire match. So wouldn't count Andre out quite yet. This game, yeah, 40 left.
Oh, it is 5-2 Philippoussis. Mark Philippoussis has had a road back from injury that has been staggering. There are the knee surgeries, and after the third surgery, he was actually in a wheelchair. Couldn't walk, was on crutches. Doctors had told him he would not play tennis again 2 years ago.
When the big injury he had in '99 while playing Sampras and leading against him, Pete came off the court afterwards and said he was going to beat me today. I mean, he played against Pete the way he's playing against Andre. Turned away from this.
No, he did a fake job trying to get Andre to relax, but Andre's been on way too long to fall for that.
30 love.
But I commend him for trying.
Trying the fakearoo?
Yeah, why not?
I thought when Andre came into our studio yesterday, he made an interesting point talking with you guys about the fact that everyone regards Philippoussis' serve as the threat on this surface, but he says it gives me more easy points on my serve.
It makes his serve bigger grounds.
And there's a couple of examples of it right there to close out that game and at least make Philippoussis serve out the set.
No, that's, I mean, grass will make an average serve good and a good serve great. And I don't even want to discuss what it does with Philippoussis' serve.
Right. But Andre's point was really an interesting twist on it. He said Philippoussis is going to serve right on any surface.
Right.
But he also pointed out he doesn't move as well on this surface. And certainly when you've had 3 surgeries, that's going to prey on your mind.
Love 15.
It's his second.
Big man's not known for his touch around the net, but here he's
15.
did just what you would hope as a serve and volley. Hit that volley, got down low for it, hit it deep, got himself in position, and he took advantage of the opening. You can't do it any better than that. Knows he should have made that.
He did just what he wanted to do.
30, 15.
Got it down low and forced a defensive volley from Philippoussis.
That court was so wide open, and Andre's able to hold it longer than other players. He easily could have guided that up the line.
Nice work at the net again from Mark Philippoussis. What happens with guys who have huge serves, Gorny Benisevic comes to mind too, they don't often have to volley. It doesn't come back.
Well, that went right off the frame. I mean, you take a little luck too.
But what I'm saying is that Agassi is one of the very few guys who can force Philippoussis to volley.
Best returner in the history of the game, in my mind.
You know what? In Mark's mind, it's Leighton Hewitt. That's what he said, anticipating this match. I disagree with him.
Yeah, and there he closes out the set. For the big serves of Philippoussis give him a 1-set lead. Dropped the first set to Mark Philippoussis, serving now at 15-all to start the second.
Pleasantly surprised, but
15-30.
happy to see Philippoussis playing as well as he is doing right now so far. It's been a long time coming. It seems to be coming together against him, against one of the all-time greats here. He looks comfortable dealing with the firepower of Agassi, trading ground strokes, and here it is. First game of the second set, Ted. He's got a chance to break again.
Philippoussis' backhand is holding up so far. And Agassi will continue to go there. But he's serving well and returning well.
And moving quite well as I've seen him.
A break a set is all someone like Mark Philippoussis needs. I mean, this could, I know it's very early in this second set, but this could decide the set if Agassi gets broken right away.
Technically sounder is the Agassi backhand. Philippoussis finds himself in too many of those type of rallies. He's going to come up short.
Is Agassi right now, John, thinking I'm in trouble?
I don't think he's thinking that yet. If he drops serve like Mary was talking about, then he'd start sweating more profusely. It's going to go just wide.
Nice changeup. First time Agassi has served in volley.
What that will do is make Philippoussis a little more tentative, not totally sure what Andre's going to do, and that's what he wants to put in Mark's head.
Just to compare the philosophy of these two.
Didn't Andre have about 10 of them against Elanawi? I think 10 of those 13 were in, which Andre said he wouldn't do again probably for another 10 years.
Unless he plays Elanawi again. Attack that backhand.
I'll tell you, give Philippoussis credit, though. He keeps running down those balls.
Yeah, that's a big hold for Andre Agassi.
Yeah, the save he could not pull out in the first set. And he does pull it out here to start the second.
And he did it from the net.
Here's our Sealy first set stats.
When you see Andre Agassi not have any chance to break, that's when you know your opponent's playing well, or certainly serving well. It just shows you again how we talk about the crowds here, and how much they love their tennis, how knowledgeable they are, how big a hand Agassi got there, because they sensed how important that hold was. I mean, that's the first game of the second set, a best-of-5 set match. They're well aware of what could happen if Philippoussis got on a roll.
So now the other story of that first set, Philippoussis lost 4 points on his serve, and 2 were on double faults.
The likelihood for Philippoussis, he'll go into double figures and aces, but also double faults. He goes for such a big first and second serve. Particularly if things start to tighten up, he tenses up.
15-all.
John, you had a doubles partner like that. Peter Fleming. He used to say, I'll serve, you know, if my first serve doesn't go in, I'll serve another first serve. And if that doesn't work, I'll lose the point.
I didn't try to encourage that in doubles.
That lasted about 3 points with you.
Peter Fleming did get to the quarterfinals here in singles one year. Had a big old serve and volley game.
That's a very good volley from Philippoussis. He attacked it. It's a nice spin. That ball stayed low. Agassi couldn't get it under it enough. And his body language very positive out there, full of life.
Flat for service.
That for Philippoussis was playing it safe, kicking out wide Agassi, but it's tough to read that. That's a good thing. You know, he throws that ball toss in a similar location. That's what you got to do to keep as good a returner as Agassi off balance.
Philippoussis plays tight to the net. And Andre, as much as he can, will try to find good lobbing situations and get him back there so he does not continue to crowd the net. That's why it's worth chasing down that shot. Force Philippoussis to hit one more winner. A lot of guys wouldn't have chased after that volley from Philippoussis.
There's a guy who's the oldest player ever been ranked #1, and you see how often that can pay dividends. That was a supposed gimme for Philippoussis. One of the serves Mary was talking about. That second serve he hit that last point, 125 miles an hour.
At least Agassi's made a dent in this serve game. He's got this game the deuce twice. As we join you live in the Eastern time zone from court 1 at Wimbledon, Andre Agassi in action, and Andy Roddick is also playing on center court. We're following that for you.
Right. That was a mistake in judgment there. A mental breakdown. That ball was way in. How often you see Agassi? I can't remember the last time I seen him hit a one-handed backhand return.
Gave him his first break point of the match.
That works for Agassi. Well, after being served off the court in the first set, and then having to save 2 break points to start this set, Agassi comes back with a break.
It's just a heady player, making a guy doing something that he's a little bit uncertain with all the surgeries and what happened at the Open last year with the fall. I mean, he's got to be slightly tentative. He missed 2 makeable overheads to lose that game.
Double faulting didn't help either. This is what Agassi counts on.
15 love.
And we're glad to have you with us here for our Monday coverage from the championships Wimbledon. We'll be checking in frequently with Andy Roddick. And also, because John likes it, we're going to check in on court 14 with Oliver Rokas at 5'5".
Yes.
Alexander Pop at 6'7" are playing for a quarterfinal berth at Wimbledon.
To play the winner of this match. Rokas has won the first set at mere 5'5" against a 6'7" Pop.
Should pick on someone his own size.
There's no one on the circuit his size.
They'll go play juniors.
30 love.
Well, that's the thing about Andre Agassi's draw going into the final. This is the man who's his biggest threat by far. If he gets past Philippoussis, I like him going into the final.
You like his chances against Rokas in the quarters?
I'm thinking that's a win.
Roddick and Roger Federer are on the other half, which is why the path would be clearer for Andre.
Tim Hedman is also on Andre's half, and Juan Carlos Ferrero, who are waiting eagerly to play here today. Ferrero, Grosjean, Tim Hedman against last year's finalist David Nalbandian.
$40-15.
This is the test.
That's the first double fault for Agassi. He still has cushion, 40-30.
Played the same kind of sloppy game mentally that Philippoussis just put in. He was up 40 love, and he missed a first serve at 40-30. Gave Philippoussis a chance to take a huge cut at the return.
Well, it was he played it a little safe. He made Philippoussis come up with a shot that you don't see too often. And he still likes his chances because he was a deuce there, and that's why he made Philippoussis come up with something special. To do it 3 points in a row would have been tough. Back with an ad here, up a break early in the second.
Left for service. Left for service.
Yeah, and Agassi.
And there's the hold finally. So Agassi at 3 love on the break of the second.
There to try to get into that match.
And here is Philippoussis holding his serve at love. A 3-1 second set. And there are other matches going on. There are 7 singles matches going on right now for berths in the quarterfinals.
I thought you were going to add you couldn't even get out of your tongue with Lopez, a serving and volley Spaniard, which is virtually unheard of. Srishapan, by the way, just broke Roddick's serve to go up 4-2 in the second.
Well, now the the goal, Mary, for Agassi, as you mentioned earlier, protect his serve.
Right.
Be strong mentally.
15.
No, every other game, Agassi has to play very, very well. And then look for his chances in the other games.
He's so technically sound, Agassi, now. See, this is good enough. Big first serve, it's 110. Harder than he used to hit it. And his movement is just excellent. Feeling that Agassi could do that the entire day without missing a ball.
He's got Philippoussis thinking about his backhand now. A couple of practice swings from Mark. Trying hard to protect that backhand wing, Philippoussis, but Agassi's still trying to get to it.
Well, he is human. Means so much to Andre, who won his first Grand Slam here at Wimbledon 11 years ago, to be able to win one more at the All England Club.
And that would be the biggest gap between Wimbledon championships in the history of this great event. I expect more of those, Mark.
Well, he's got to move
Coming your way.
forward. That ball's too low. He's not going to win a lot of those rallies. He's got to step in when given the chance. That's not where he wants to hit those shots.
And Agassi holds for 4-1 in the second. Rolex, the official timekeeper of the championships, Wimbledon. And here on court 1, Andre Agassi held his serve while we were watching Srishapan even the match with Roddick. So Philippoussis up a set, but Agassi at 5-2 now in the second.
Philippoussis, who served around 80%, is down to 57 now.
Well, he's got to get that new racket out.
Yep. Andre realized the new tennis balls in use. And as is his custom, whenever that happens, new racket. There's the illustration of your point, Mary.
Yeah, you give Agassi some looks. And another double fall for Philippoussis. That's number 6 for him. Wow, what a return and a little help from the net. And now Andre Agassi is 2 points from leveling this.
This is not well handled by Philippoussis. He's got plenty of time to gather himself here, and just to jerk up like he did there and miss it that badly.
The interesting thing, though, John, is that Philippoussis robs himself of time because his serve is so big. Tried to come in behind a 127-mile-an-hour serve, and he's putting himself in a rush.
And when Agassi loved this, to finish with a break, start the third set on his serve. 3 chances.
Are you suggesting he serves softer?
If he wants, honestly, I think he would do a little bit better serving softer, moving it around the box.
If he placed it better.
It would make his volleys better. Right now, he's just relying on a huge serve, which isn't a bad way to go.
He relies on intimidation, the power.
Right.
So that he's making a statement out there. He could use a little plan B, for sure.
Game and second set.
Well,
Agassi,
the first set was
6-1,
all about
1-4.
the serve of Philippoussis. In the second set, that serve left him, and Agassi evens the match.
33.
Third set, Agassi to
You
serve.
see, staring at it, Andre had lost the first set and faced 2 break points on his own serve to start the second set. He pulled that first game out, broke in the next game, and went on to break again to win the set.
Love 15.
And obviously, when that ball sits up there for Philippoussis, he needs to move in, take it early, and attack Agassi. Put some pressure back on him.
15 all.
You know, again, the ball that wasn't struck very hard, that Agassi serve, only 102. He needs to move forward at the angle. Philippoussis set it sideways. He'd catch the ball a little earlier, maybe that shot would go in. That is a rare, unforced error from Agassi. Looking to get off to a good start here in this third set. Again, same thing. It's not particularly hard, that serve. He's well behind the baseline. Agassi content to let him beat himself right now.
There's 105.
See, he's got to move forward at an angle to give himself a better chance there.
He's pointing to where he should have gone with that forehand cross court, where the net's 6 inches lower down the middle.
That's where he should have gone. Is get the ball in the court there. Just long.
Game, Agassi.
And Agassi holds to start the third.
First game, third set.
There's the summary through 2 sets.
Boy, Agassi has had his chances on breaks, and he's taken both of them. And Philippoussis has left 6 begging.
Right.
And it's that first serve percentage you mentioned. It's dropped significantly, which has given Agassi more chances to hit that return. He's getting better looks at the ball.
As it just mirrored, does it look like Philippoussis isn't moving quite as well as he did in the first set?
Well, some of it's confidence. You know, he's lost. When you lose that, you have a tendency to slow down. But he's, I hope it's too early to say that he's feeling fatigued.
Right. Just over an hour of play.
15 love.
He needs to get that intensity level up a little higher here as we see him throw down his 12th ace. And that'll get him moving to attack more, get the positive energy. Agassi's so much like Connors, and they suck you into playing their type of game. You know, you're hitting like that last point where Philippoussis last game, he lost that game. He hit 6 or 7 good shots. But Agassi to me can do that all day.
Yeah,
he's not going to lose points like that.
That's right. Philippoussis wants to play this kind of a game where he doesn't have to play a lot of tennis.
Whoops. I'm sure the second or split second that he decided to pull that
30,
racket
15.
back, he knew that was going to drop well in. Already knew that was going to go in. Well, that ball looked like it caught the line from up here. Still a second serve. Justine Henin, who have come off her French Open win, is moving along nicely against Mary Pierce. A set and a break at 4-3 in the second. She is a fun player to watch.
Game
And
Philippoussis.
Philippoussis, ace number 13, gets him the hold. You can log on to Wimbledon.msnbc.com. But Collins, with his belief that a new coach has made a world of difference for Andy Roddick, and real-time scoring of all the matches, brought to you by British Airways at Wimbledon.msnbc.com.
Love.
If you're right, Ted, that Philippoussis is slowing down a little bit, it will be reflected in his hitting. He takes such a big swings. If he's not there, he'll make a lot of errors.
15-all.
An already high-risk game would be even riskier. Nifty
15
play
seconds.
for a guy as big as Philippoussis to move quickly, get under this ball, and snap it for the winner.
Well, these are soft nets, and that ball set up very nicely for him there.
Let for service. Let for service.
So second straight service game here to start the third set, in which Agassi has to work. Again at 15:30.
Let for service.
If John McEnroe had his way, this game would be over.
No lets. That's right. One less thing to think about. More excitement. Well, that's an incredible shot from how far. You need binoculars to see where he was. It's called unleashing a winner. I mean, Agassi must have thought he was going to win this point. He slides into that forehand and just gives it a whack to what Mary said, the low part of the net. Now he's got some break point chances. Agassi decides to hit. Is that his hardest serve of the match?
13-14.
Oh, almost. Second hardest at 119. Gets one break point saved.
And smartly, John, when he wants to flatten out his serve, he goes down the middle of the court where the net's lower.
That's right.
Deuce.
And then in that point, he goes to against the net's higher, but it's Philippoussis' backhand, which will open things up nicely here as he moves forward. It's Agassi who's moving towards the net. Rarely will you ever, as well prepared as he is when he's out there on a tennis court, miss a shot like that.
Let
All of which is to say he's a very canny pitcher.
He's pretty good.
Advantage Agassi.
This is just what Eunice Elanawi said about the difficulty in playing Andre Agassi. How much more focused he gets when he's been stirred by a challenge. That's just what he's done here. He was in real trouble in this service game.
Deuce.
Back to deuce. It's now 9 break points that Agassi has faced in this match, and he's lost only 1.
Philippoussis beats you with heat on the serve. With Agassi, it's all about direction in the box, changing it up, changing the spins, the speeds.
Yeah, but he's got enough heat now, too. He's shown that this game as well. That makes those other serves even more effective.
And this is the most underreported part of Andre Agassi's game.
Shot I think I've seen today. Where did that come from? I don't know where he hit that from. This is a major miss hit.
A major miss hit winner.
Yeah, he'll take it in a heartbeat.
So Andre got out of trouble, couldn't close the door, and now
Advantage.
will face another
Philippoussis.
break point. And kept going right at his backhand.
When he's got a second serve, Philippoussis, it's an excellent time to move forward and force Agassi to come up with a passing shot. But once he hit that defensive return, Agassi took control of the point. The sun return. That's where he moved forward at that angle I was talking about. Caught it a little bit earlier.
Advantage Philippoussis.
We know how strong he is. That's a given.
This gives him a 4th break point.
Let's see him be aggressive. Move in here. Attack Agassi. That's a great game. It's not even over yet.
And let me amend my statement. Philippoussis is still moving. Okay.
I think he's shown that this game. I mean, he is hustling in a big way.
But John, you made
Yes.
such an important point that Philippoussis is giving away too much territory. You know, the common thinking is, well, you don't have to, you know, your opponent's not serving and volleying, so you can stay back. Once a point starts, you got to like Agassi. Oh, no. He had nothing but open court.
Advantage Philippoussis.
Well, Philippoussis' passing shot was floating.
Yeah.
It surprised Andre. It was almost too easy, if that's possible. He just took his eye off the ball. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
A 5th chance to break. It took Philippoussis 5 chances to break Andre in the first set.
You just have to take your hat off there. Yes, he would have liked to hit it deeper, maybe a little bit more on it, but he still did what I think was a good play. Force Agassi to come up with a tough shot. Don Budge, great Grand Slam champion who used to love to come to the big tournaments, said he approach down the middle. Don't give these
Like
guys
the
that can
service.
pass so well these angles. Mark should try that as this match progresses. It's worth a shot.
Andre just want to get off the court
Advantage Agassi.
as we continue in this marathon third game, third set. Our coverage of Monday from Wimbledon live on the East Coast here on NBC. Agassi playing on court one, Roddick on center court. The game that won't die.
It's about as good a game as you're going to see, as long a game as you're going to see here at Wimbledon. And still yet to be decided.
Advantage
Roddick, by
Agassi.
the way, up 3-2 on serve in the third set. One set all.
Roddick barely avoided being broken early in that third set, just as Agassi is trying to do here. And after rain overnight, morning drizzle, some drizzle at the beginning of this match, bright sunshine.
Matt for service.
Philippoussis kept lining up those forehands, but finally nets one. And Agassi works hard for a hold.
Agassi leads. Love.
Mark Philippoussis would love nothing more here than have an easy service game. Put Agassi right back to serving. After a marathon 7-deuce game in which Andre finally held.
Knowing Andre and watching him play, and particularly these last 3-4 years, you just get the feeling that the opposite thing's going to happen. This is where Agassi's going to make him work even harder. Here's his chance now at 15-30.
14th ace for Philippoussis.
Roger Federer, another contender, has pulled out that first set in a tiebreak. As singles matches continue on the outside courts. Just wide there. Sadly, our man Olivier Rockus is now down 2-1 and a break against Alexander Pop. There's Agassi making Philippoussis work.
Making you sound like a prophet.
So he could be a little fatigued here, Philippoussis. Not quite as sure of himself. So he kicks that second serve up. That gives Agassi, who's the great returner that he is, time to line that up. Break point.
Quickly erased. But right now it's those chances that Agassi has saved that are so important to this match. Philippoussis with 12 chances to break, and he's captured only 1.
That's loose. A loose volley from Philippoussis. Can't afford those now.
Advantage Agassi.
He let that volley handcuff him. Got tentative at just the wrong time. You see where his racket is? His racket needs to be right there in the middle of his body so that he can go to either side, and it was hanging on his backhand volley side. He just didn't get the racket over quickly enough. That may cost him this game. Always taught that for balance sake, if nothing else.
Deuce.
He has shown some feathery touch during the course of this round of 16 match. He needed to hit a good one there to stave off the break.
Advantage
A couple
Philippoussis.
loose overheads early in the second set cost Mark Philippoussis. He was not going to make that mistake again.
Game Philippoussis.
So Philippoussis able to serve his way out of potential harm. 2-all. Third set. Well, tonight your late night dose of Wimbledon gets going as Wimbledon Update comes your way 11:35 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, followed immediately by the Tonight Show with Jay Leno tonight on NBC.
John will be giving the update of our man, Olivier Rockus. How did he?
Can hardly wait.
How did he become our man? 5-5 from Belgium.
That for service.
That's a start.
That alone is worth being our man for the day.
You could also have Feliciano Lopez entering, a serve and volleying Spaniard. That is hard to say.
And a lefty. We don't see many lefties around. Draws.
You almost get the sense for Andre this is right now much like his Saturday match with Elanawi. Got back after dropping the first set and then just patiently waited for that one opening in each set.
I don't know if patience is the word I'd use, but he's eventually got there. And sadly, Mary, from one speaking of lefties, you and I, Lopez the only lefty.
Our man, Felicio Lopez.
Now he's my new man after Rockus loses. And he might be gone in an hour or so.
That's all right. There's room on the Rainer Schutler bandwagon.
Good news for our Americans. Roddick has just broken serve against Sri Chopin, now up 4-2. Trying to take control of that match at 1 set all.
This is why Andre Agassi will continue to serve with a furrowed brow. And then we've seen from the first 2 sets here, one break does it. And Philippoussis can come up with this sort of thing. And all of a sudden you're in trouble on serve again. It's not like in women's tennis where so often the players aren't on serve, they're on break.
40-30.
Is Andre's serve off today a bit? Or why is Philippoussis having more chances to return than Elanaui?
I think Andre's serving rather well.
Yeah.
So you give it to Philippoussis.
I think he's done a better job returning. He's had a good day out there for the most part. It's just wide.
And a hold of serve for Agassi. On serve in the third. The Hewlett-Packard Bud Facts with Bud Collins. As we come back live in the Eastern Time Zone on court one. Philippoussis serving at 2-3 third set.
Well, Andre Agassi is going to be like Martina, and I don't mean that he'll still be playing when he's 46.5 years old, but he will continue to play as long as he feels he can do it physically. As soon as he feels he's slipping in that way, he says he'll be gone.
And as long as Gil Reyes is around, it'll be hard to have that happen. Gil won't let it happen. But Andre does look at things from a unique perspective, talking about his match with Elanaui, about how impressed he was that Elanaui has raised his game while traveling the tour with 2 children.
And expecting a third.
Well, Andre better get ready himself, as he's got a second on the way.
40-love.
So how about this? You said, Mary, no one has gone 11 years between Wimbledon championships, which is what Andre's trying to achieve. No father has won Wimbledon since Pat Cash 16 years ago.
And no mother since Yvonne Goolagong. Won it twice. Last time in 1980.
Pat Cash was only 21 years of age when he had his first child.
The other father was Jimmy Connors.
Game Philippoussis.
And Philippoussis with a hold at 15 for 3 all.
3 games all, third set.
13 titles after that. Rod Laver had no idea. 44 titles after the age of 30. Of course, Ken Rosewall played well into his early 40s.
He's still playing. He's on court 17 right now.
He's practicing. He got to the finals here at 39 of the Wimbledon and the Open.
Losing both to Jimmy Connors.
15-love.
And you talk about Ken Rosewall and Rod Laver and think that Mark Philippoussis was the only Aussie to reach the 3rd round of Wimbledon this year.
30-love.
Well, obviously, we've talked about it. Unheard of that a defending champion would lose first round. And Patrick Rafter, well, we say too early, sadly, retired. Guy reached the finals a couple times.
Leighton Hewitt, last year's champion.
40-love.
The only Aussie not to win the title, serve and volley.
And the Aussies had the junior champion last year, Todd Reed. He's struggling on the pro tour now.
There's no end to our Wimbledon minutia. Agassi sort of misjudged that one. Didn't come in with an awful lot of sincerity.
Well, that's what happens. You're up 40-love. He figures I'm going to win the game and try a very tough shot there. And that's even for him is low percentage. A swinging volley from below the net. He only makes that like 8 or 9 times out of 10.
40-30.
Agassi is so good offensively. He attacks the ball mercilessly. You forget how good a defense he can play. Philippoussis found the angle there. Trying to work his way back in this game.
In this third set, Agassi's not having the easy games on serve he'd like. NBC brings you to court 1 at Wimbledon. Our Monday coverage of just a fabulous day of tennis. Round of 16 for both the men and the women. And as we come to you live in the Eastern time zone right now, Andre Agassi and Andy Roddick both in action, same time, adjacent courts. Both at a set apiece.
Love 15.
You spoke too soon, Ted.
Uh-oh. Update me.
Update. Roddick has just pulled out the third set. One break, just served his way to a 6-3, 2-1 lead. Agassi looking to get up 2-1 here. Better believe he's going to make Philippoussis work at this game. Love 15 already in a second serve. That floats long. Now needs to take a couple deep breaths. Big Mark Philippoussis. Hammer down some first serves, or he's going to be in trouble here.
There's one.
That's one.
First set, Philippoussis lost 4 points on his serve the entire set. He's not served close to that since. That was his 18th ace.
Well, he's played significantly better in this third set than he did in the second. He's upped his intensity level. He's had opportunities to break Agassi. He has not gone away. Just when he needed 3 big first serves to get himself, he hopes, out of trouble here. 3-4 in the third.
So Philippoussis serving for 4-all, third set. Court 1 at Wimbledon. Our live coverage to the Eastern time zone. We're glad to have you with us here on NBC. Andy Roddick is up 2-1, playing on center court.
And Philippoussis.
And that opportunity got away from Andre. Love 30, Philippoussis serves his way back to 4-all.
4 games all. That's it.
Ted Robinson, Mary Carrillo, John McEnroe with you here in the booth. Jimmy Roberts, Bud Collins also on. Pit stop for another new racket for Andre. So the oldest.
We're all in the third.
4 games all. That's it.
New tennis balls coming in. That'll send Andre Agassi to the bag for a new racket. He can afford those.
Well, yeah, I think he probably can. I mean, he can afford to restring his rackets after every match. Well, he doesn't.
When you're that good, you don't have to pay for them anyway.
Well, yeah, he doesn't restring them himself. And I would imagine in his deal with his racket company, he gets a few free rackets.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That's not good enough.
That might be.
Oh, and Philippoussis knows it. He's yelling at himself.
How about that return? He got jammed, and he's so strong.
Yeah, he came right to his body. Typically, you'd hit that off the backhand side, but he just kind of turns his body and hits it off the forehand side. Missed a little opportunity there.
Went after it and missed it badly. 30 love. Smell tie break in this one.
Well, the way it's going right now, there have been some missed opportunities on both serves.
Good serve wide. A lot of court for Agassi. Quickly to 40 love.
40 love.
I think if they each hold 2 more times, I think I smell a tie break.
I don't want you to go out on a limb there.
Like that prediction?
5 games to 4. Agassi here in the third. We're set apiece.
Matthew Perry, well, I'm sorry, I have to explain. I think he's violating the cell phone rule. Yeah, I think he's always trying to use a cell phone and not interfere with play here on court 1. Matthew Perry currently appearing in a theater production in London.
West End and getting rave reviews.
So now Philippoussis serving at 4-5 in the third.
Matthew Perry's around an awful lot of tennis tournaments. He's friends with Jennifer Capriati, and he was once ranked #2 in Canada in the juniors.
This was one of the situations that Andre took advantage of against Elanawi, breaking at a 4-5 game to win a set.
Well, hopefully he's okay. And that ball from Philippoussis, the volley to a wide open court, just caught the back of the line. There's Andre trying to get himself back in position. That's part of the court still rather green. Just had to watch. Clip the line.
(40-15).
And Andre knows that was the point that may have changed this game. Philippoussis had a few shots like that in this third set. They've gone his way. And he holds for 5-all in the third set. Well, our coverage from Wimbledon continues tomorrow on NBC. Once again, 10 a.m. in all time zones. And it's ladies quarterfinal day. Serena Williams, the defending champion, and Jennifer Capriati resume their rivalry, which has been all Serena of late. And we'll have it here on NBC. 10 a.m. all time zones tomorrow.
15
The other 2 Americans left in the women's draw have to play each other, Venus Williams and Lindsay Davenport.
Sorry. Oh, yes. Someone moving in the crowd. Crowd is very well behaved, to put it mildly, here.
Except for Matthew Perry, who's on his phone.
I'm still wondering about that 2 in Canada card he threw out.
30 love.
That makes me think he's lying about his age or something. Is it before or after they had tennis courts up there?
There we go.
Glad you brought his name up again. Try to dance around that and hit a forehand, but that was not going to happen.
40 love.
He's never been Baryshnikov out there.
That was well said. 40 love.
$40-15.
Andy Roddick has broken serve early in the 4th as he takes control of his match with Srishapan center court. I guess he's still fighting it out here in the 3rd.
And there's Andre. Well, the last 2 service games for Agassi have been easier. Finish the 3rd set next. Our coverage continues live for those of you in the Eastern time zone. From Wimbledon, what was a gray and wet day has become a sunny and warm day in late afternoon. Andre Agassi and Mark Philippoussis hooked up. A good battle. Now Philippoussis trying to get this 3rd set to a tiebreak.
Love 15.
Just the type of return Agassi wanted to start this game. Right at Philippoussis' feet. Tough shot to control. Especially when the nerves are infiltrating the body again at this critical point of the 3rd set. See, there's an easy ball. He didn't expect it to come back. Tightened up and missed that badly. You've got, because you are nervous and getting more nervous by the second, play that type of shot a little safer. Make sure you don't miss it by 2 feet.
15-30.
This is where you come up with the aces. Please, I don't want to hit a volley or hit a shot right now. Just let me hit a couple big service bombs. That's 19 for the match. Make that 20.
Let first service. $30 all.
And Philippoussis did this in his last service game. Got out of trouble.
$40-30.
So a point here to push this set to a tiebreak.
Let first service.
Those guys would feel shell-shocked out there. Agassi's had to deal with a couple of major servers these last few days. Ella now, he's got a great serve. Philippoussis has played hard here today.
Game Philippoussis.
And that's frustrating for Agassi because twice he had himself in position
6 games all.
possibly in this set. Both times Philippoussis got at him.
Well, he's been through that routine before, having to play Sampras all those years with this weapon. See that both players win more than they lose. And this is mighty important right now. Set all into the tiebreak. It's a miss hit, but it was because of the miss hit it dropped in. Philippoussis guesses right, goes to the forehand, swings as hard as he can. It doesn't hit it cleanly. If he had, it would have gone out. Certainly take that.
He's had about 3 or 4 of those shots like that in this third set.
Alexander Pop will be the opponent of this match, the winner of this match. He's pulled out the 4-set win over Olivier Rochus. Half English, half German. Father's German, mother English, but spent his life in Germany. 6'7". Agassi must be thinking, when am I going to get a small guy to play? A mere 5'11" is Agassi, perhaps and a half, but he plays like a giant out there on the tennis court.
1-0. What an break for Andre Agassi. Philippoussis gives that point back with a double fault.
He lives and dies by it, Philippoussis. And he figures it'll all add up. He's had 7 double faults, but he's had 22 aces, including 3 in that last game when he needed them.
Roddick has broken again. Center court all but over there. 2-1 and a 2-break lead.
Agassi wins both points on Philippoussis' serve.
2-1 Agassi.
See, that's what I was talking about with Philippoussis, to need to move forward at that angle. It's Agassi just does that so naturally. It comes back just a tiny bit sooner than you expect. And he gets 2 points on the Philippoussis serve. He does an interesting thing there with the serve. He hits it a little bit earlier than Philippoussis expected. Slices is out wide to Philippoussis because he sees that Philippoussis has moved to the side of the court. And again, an error there. Then he mixes it up with the hard one.
That's like a quick pitch in baseball, you're saying.
That's exactly. That's what he did there. Then he follows it up with power. That's going to feel like it's 130, even though it was only 122. It just shows you how clearly he thinks out there in big situations. That's a great return. Same thing from the backhand side.
Agassi loses the first point and now has won 5 in a row.
If he had taken his SATs in math, my predictions he would have done very well. Because he knows his angles, that's for sure.
Usually you give tiebreak edges to Mark Philippoussis. The return game is right there for Agassi. But to get to this match, Philippoussis had to play a couple of tie breaks, and he trailed. This was against Radek Stepanek, who was down love 4 in the second set tiebreaker and 1-4 in the fourth. So again, it's just a couple of swings of his racket. He can get back in these things.
Yeah. 5-2. Now the set goes to Agassi's serve. Meanwhile, Agassi won the third and the fourth sets against Elanawi with his big serve. Andre won both those tie breaks.
Stepanek is no Agassi.
I know Radek Stepanek.
He's come a long way. He's proven to be a good singles player. Played mainly doubles until last year.
6-2 Agassi.
He's coached by Peter Korda, but he's no Agassi.
And now Andre, 4 set points.
Agassi.
That gives Philippoussis hope. He'll get the serve back.
It's the pace he hits shots, Philippoussis, is amazing. He doesn't break more nets. That was clearly lucky, but he's still got some work to do here.
Third ace.
6-4.
So 2 set points gone, 2 remain. Take that.
7 games to 6.
Andres, you get that second serve out of here. 2 sets to 1, Agassi. We come back to court 1, live in the Eastern time zone, where Andre Agassi has taken the 3rd set. And it's following that same pattern as his match with Yunus El-Anawi on Saturday. And now Andre Agassi trying to join Andy Roddick in the quarterfinals. In center court, Roddick has done it. Can Agassi finish off Philippoussis here on the neighboring court 1?
Let move for service.
A little different than last year's Wimbledon for the American man.
Love.
Meanwhile, here they don't care much about that. Their Tim is still alive.
Well, he'll be entering center court in 5 or 10 minutes to try to advance to the quarters. His opponent will be last year's finalist David Nalbandian.
30 love.
Have a tough match there. Ball by Agassi with the one hand. Was well hit, but just a little bit wide.
Love.
Absolutely nothing anyone can do on that serve at 129 miles per hour, just inside both lines. Thank you very much. Ace number 25. Andy Roddick's next opponent is either Max Mirny or Jonas Bjorkman, double specialist who's played some fine singles in his career. It's Bjorkman at the moment at 2 sets to 1 up. There's another one. Just thank you very much. I wish I could hit a serve that hard.
First game, 4th set.
So the ace count climbs for Philippoussis, but Agassi has the 2 sets to 1 lead.
Since the second set, Philippoussis' percentage has started to work its way up, now at about 60. Agassi has had a superb day serving to me. I mean, even though he's only had 1 ace.
Look at this, though. There have been 35 points where Agassi hasn't even played. 26 aces, 9 double faults.
But you look at that line on the bottom, the 11 other points that Agassi did play.
That's exactly right.
Big points that Philippoussis couldn't break.
15 love.
And again, another high-quality match that Agassi's involved in. We saw it Saturday with El-Anawi. Here it is. Philippoussis giving him all he can handle. Very commendable performance. Right on the line again. This guy's incredible.
30 love.
You think he's a lot better, John, now than when he won Wimbledon 11 years ago?
I think he's significantly better. He's stronger. He appreciates it more. He's technically sounder. He plays harder. His concentration is better. I also think he's a better volleyer. He takes advantage. Doesn't come up there a lot, but when he does a good job. But it's obvious there's some tough competition out there. This is a guy that we've waited and hoped that he would break through. Just, especially with all Philippoussis has been through, to see him finally, because they've been talking about this 6-7 years at least. Philippoussis win a major. Almost talking about him being a failure as a professional. That's grossly unfair to someone who's been through as much physically as he's had. And here he is. Okay, he's just lost a third set tiebreaker. He's come back, held serve. He's got a break point. Let's see if he can capitalize now.
But you know, Philippoussis himself, as Andre picks a great time to toss in just his second ace.
Yes.
But Philippoussis himself has said, he knows, he said, I feel like I've wasted my talent.
He has.
That's been the lifestyle change that he's made.
He's right about that, but he's like Goran Ivanisevic. He's got, this is the one major he can actually win. And he knows it.
Let second service.
And this is why Mark Philippoussis plays all year.
Advantage Philippoussis.
This is why he's worked so hard to come back.
Just the second double for Agassi. And again, a break point. 14th of this match.
I think he's capable of playing better tennis on hard courts. I think physically what's required, it would be far more difficult on those surfaces. So even though he doesn't move as well on this surface, more forgiving for his body.
Royce gives himself another chance.
Incredible how many chances he has had.
Advantage Philippoussis.
Once has he broken serve.
But I think we go back to 10 a.m. and your line, John, about Philippoussis' knees. Here's a guy who's getting injections regularly of synthetic cartilage into his left knee to continue to play.
Yes.
You have to wonder how long this demanding sport can hold up.
It's no fun riding on rims.
Right.
Advantage Philippoussis.
Meanwhile, how long can Andre play Walenda here and walk this high wire?
It's obvious what it means to him to do well here. I mean, he's tensed up here. Again, he's had to work through some nerves, as great as he is right now. This has not been a particularly good game for his standards. But he's still in it. This is where, you asked about 11 years ago, Mary, why, to me, he's so much better. Because this is a game that when he was younger, I think he would have let slip away. And he doesn't give away games the way he used to.
And John, Brad Gilbert, who coached this guy for 8 years, says he didn't touch the mechanics of Agassi's game. He hasn't changed a thing. is how he uses his game. That's been such a difference.
Advantage Agassi.
Suddenly in this game, 4th set, 3 Agassi aces. And he's needed them. Well, this is shaping up like I rechecked with Leo Levin. What was it, the 3rd game of the 3rd set, I believe? That was the 7-deuce game. I guess he finally held, say, 5 break points in that one.
About it, but I mean, and it's obvious that Andre's superbly conditioned, but you have to think at 33. Played a very tough match against Alan now. This is an extremely difficult physical and mental match. I mean, if he's getting just slowing down himself a little right now. He just keeps turning around and hitting that ace out wide.
He's done that 3 times in this game to Philippoussis.
Yes, at the same place, just hitting it back wide. I mean, Philippoussis has got to see that, expect that to come.
Andre's had 4 aces in this game, and 3 of them have been just like that.
Make him go up the middle there at this point. Step closer. There's a lot of zip on that backhand from Philippoussis. He really bent those knees, shoulder rotated. Had some immense force.
All right, now let's see if Philippoussis.
Yeah, just stand over to your. There you go. Yep. That's it.
6th break point.
Just give the illusion you're expecting it to come.
Philippoussis feels like he finally got the winning Powerball ticket. Took him 18 break points to finally get his 2nd break of the match.
4th set.
It surprised a lot of people in this audience, I think including Agassi, that he's kept up this intensity level and quality of play. If anything, Philippoussis seems to be taking charge right here early in the 4th set. That's going to go wide. His 3rd set he could have pulled out and didn't, and he's come storming back in this 4th.
Philippoussis did play and win a 5-set match in the 1st round at the French this year. For all of you who like overtime tennis, 3 years ago here at Wimbledon, Philippoussis had that memorable match when she was down 2 sets to 1 to Sheng Shalkin. Came back, won the 4th in a breaker, and then won the 5th set 20-18.
It takes a pretty good grass court player to beat Mark Philippoussis. Last year, he had a 5-setter with Richard Krajicek. There were 4 tiebreaks involved in that before he lost 6-4 in the 5th.
He's also got a commendable 12-6 career 5-set record, including the one you mentioned at the French most recently.
I'm astounded when you hear about, for example, the 2018 fifth setter that he played here 3 years ago. How can you serve that hard for that long?
That's what a lot of people are wondering. It shows you these guys mentally, physically as fit and
Philippoussis.
resilient as they are.
27th ace. And Philippoussis takes charge early in the fourth.
Philippoussis leads 3 games to love. Fourth set, Agassi by 2 sets to 1.
Mark Philippoussis leading 3-love. Andre Agassi serving here in the fourth set, up 2 sets to 1. Number 2 ranked, number 2 seeded, and number 1 ranked Andre Agassi against the unseeded and number 48 ranked Mark Philippoussis.
Love.
Matthew Perry coming out watching some of the tennis. He was watching Jennifer Capriati earlier. And all I'm wondering is, how does that guy get those seats? He's sitting all but on the court.
Well, influence pays off. 30-love Agassi. Quickly to 40-love for Andre Agassi.
40-love.
Trying to get on the board here in the fourth set. Break in game 2 by Philippoussis, giving him the 3-love lead. Good return.
40-15.
That's a play Andre employs when he's at 40-love. Sometimes he'll even do it at 40-15. You're not going to see him serve and volley too many times at other points in a game.
Agassi, new balls please.
Good service winner there, and he is on the board at 3-1 here in the fourth set.
Philippoussis leads 3 games to 1, fourth set.
Agassi coming for a new racket as they put new tennis balls into play.
Andre, one of the few guys out on the tour who will do that. Go to the new racket every time there's new balls. And a lot of players feel that, or the players that do that feel like with the new balls that are going to be flying a little bit more, go to a freshly strung racket, because which will typically be a little bit tighter than the racket they've been using, because after you've used it for 7 games, it'll loosen up a little bit.
Philippoussis keeps his ace streaks going here. He's up to 28 now. 15-love. Agassi surrenders on that pop-up return. Easy overhead for Philippoussis to 30-love.
Love.
Ace 29.
And Philippoussis.
Giddy up.
And even 30 for 4-1 in the fourth. Mark Philippoussis up 4-1. A break in the second game of this fourth set. Agassi at 1-4. Pretty much conceded those first serve bombs from Philippoussis in the last game. 3 aces. Up to 30 in the match.
30 love.
And Agassi quickly to 30 love.
With his 6th ace.
He leads 2-1, but down 1-4.
40 love.
Typically, Agassi is more concerned about his first serve percentage and his placement, not the pace on his serve. That's why he's up to 69% right now.
Game
He
Agassi.
gets the game every bit as quickly as Philippoussis did. There was only one ace.
Philippoussis leads 4 games to 2. Fourth set.
Now it would seem that Andre's just got to wait, hoping that he's going to miss some first serves, and then he'll go after those seconds and somehow break back here, being down a break in this fourth.
Right, and you know, Andre, that was his thinking going into this 4th set, but when Mark comes up and he just starts out the 4th serving as well as he has, there's nothing you can do. A lot of times you win a tough tie break like Agassi did, and your opponent actually has a bit of a letdown. Philippoussis didn't have a letdown to start out this 4th set. In fact, his first serve percentage has increased. It's already up to 80% in this 4th set alone.
He put one into the strike zone of Agassi there, however, on first serve. And again, and he missed the volley. So love 30 suddenly. Andre gets some first serves that he can make plays on.
Yeah, see, that's the danger. Sure, if you're hitting aces, well, you just walk to the other side. But when you give Andre a look at it and you can get his racket on it, that's when you're making it tough on yourself. And now here at love 30, giving Andre a look at a second serve.
But he's got to make those volleys too, though, on the returns.
Yes.
And the last one he certainly had a good shot at. 3 break points for Agassi, patiently waiting for the opportunities from Philippoussis, and they have arrived.
Tim, that's a very good point. Patiently waiting. The first 3 service games he just blew, 3 service games he blew right through them with his aces. In this game, no aces, and he gave Andre a look at a second serve, and that one, you know, goes off the frame, but he just patiently waited until he got his chance.
1 breaker saved.
$34.
Can't do anything with that. Number 31. 2 break points saved. Too good. 3 break points saved.
The difference in the last couple of serves and maybe the first couple of points in this game is just a matter of inches. A couple of inches will stretch Andre out a little bit more.
Advantage Philippoussis.
Got a swing at it, but it was still an excellent deep 116-mile-an-hour serve right to the service line. Advantage Philippoussis has wiped out 3 break points. Point from 5-2 here in the 4th set. Does it with an ace, number 32. 5 games to 2, Philippoussis.
Philippoussis leads 5 games to 2. 4th set Agassi.
Agassi's second serve, 2-5 in the 4th. Up 2-1. Got him on a string. That'll be out.
It's a little higher than the stakes that I played for. I'd say $20,000.
15 love.
I'm not sure the boys have to put up their own dough. Phil Mickelson's in that one against Freddie Couples. Some other big names.
$15 all.
Good luck for Agassi. 30-15.
30-15.
That was a lot of luck, not only with the net cord, but that ball was so deep. That's a tough ball to hit a slice on.
Agassi long to 30 all.
Two errors off that backhand side. One in the net, that one long.
And that's long. A break point. Philippoussis. Agassi just missed with that one. Break point Philippoussis. Set point.
Wow.
Just his 7th ace, but each time he's needed it on a big point and come up with it. Deuce.
3 aces on break points in the previous couple of service games ago when he got broken.
Go, loose shot from Philippoussis.
Advantage Agassi.
Agassi a point from staying in the set, making Philippoussis serve for it.
Yeah,
Another ace. Remarkable. 8th ace. Philippoussis will now serve for the 4th set to try and even the match.
4th set.
See if the chess game evolves again here. Whether Philippoussis gives Agassi a chance to play chess with him. If he delivers those big bombs far enough away from the great returner, there's no chess to be played. Like that.
Yeah.
Number 33. Matching his output in the 3rd round against Stepanek. Just wide. 30 love.
This really is a chess match right now, the way Philippoussis is serving, because Agassi's trying to guess a little bit on the returns.
Now he's got a second. First in this game to look at. Got it.
I'll teach you to go out to my forehand.
30-15. But for service.
Ace number 34.
40-15.
2 set points. Mark Philippoussis, chance to even the match. And he does so with an ace.
6 games to 3.
35 aces for Philippoussis.
2 sets all.
The match is all even. The number 2 seed Andre Agassi in a battle. Getting a new racket. Coming out to begin the 5th and final set. Remember, no tiebreak in the 5th.
Final
Should
set,
they be at
Agassi to
6
serve.
all. Andre Agassi will serve to open the 5th.
Tim, one thing that Mark Philippoussis has done really well, and we just saw it on that point. He's able to stretch out and slap those returns. And what's giving Andre problem is that he's able to get him so close to the baseline.
Agassi drops that volley nicely.
15-all.
Philippoussis with 35 aces to this stage of the match. Agassi looked like he rushed that a little bit with Philippoussis pulled wide.
15-30.
Wearing it out pretty good on the ad side, but for some reason more shots are going to the forehand on the deuce side.
Took your counsel there.
40-30.
Got a service winner. Turn long. Andre Agassi has just held serve to go up 1-love.
It's been a tremendous effort from Mark Philippoussis, and we've talked about the serve of Philippoussis. 35 aces on this match thus far. That has been the difference. In that fourth set, after being down 2-1, part of me was thinking, okay, does Mark Philippoussis, does he hang in there and try to get this to a fourth and a fifth? Take a look at their 5-set records in 0-2 and throughout their careers. Obviously, Agassi with a few more, but it's been the serve that was the difference in that fourth set for Philippoussis.
15 left.
And he keeps those aces coming. Number 36.
And it's an advantage for him to be starting out serving in this fifth set, I believe. It's always nice when you have a serve as big as Philippoussis to start out the set. So you're always ahead when you hold serve.
30 left.
30 love, a pair of aces. Philippoussis trying to even at 1 here. Agassi holding to open the final set.
Difference in that fourth set, Philippoussis 81% first serves in.
Good turn from Agassi. But nonetheless, succumbed to Philippoussis in the fourth.
40-15.
Darren Cahill, the coach of Andre Agassi. Former coach of Leighton Hewitt, helped Hewitt get to #1 in the world. Now Agassi at #1 in the world.
Philippoussis a point from evening here in the fifth and final set. Right in the wheelhouse of Andre Agassi.
Andre Agassi can only hope for more of these second serves. That's when he has to capitalize.
Game Philippoussis.
Philippoussis holding. We're even at 1 in set number 5.
1 game over, final set.
Here's a look at what's been going on in this match. A ton of winners for Philippoussis. Obviously, that includes a lot of the serve points, unforced errors. But most important, each player that when they've been able to get the break, they've been able to hold on to the break and close out the set. Very clean match from both players. You saw Agassi or Philippoussis hold serve in that opening game. Throughout the match, 83% of the points when he gets his first serve in, he's winning. When he misses the first serve, he's only winning 45% of those points. That tells you how important it is on his serve and how big it is for Andre when he's looking at a second.
15-all.
Ace number 10 for Andre Agassi, the 15-all. He's been pumping up his first serve and finding some opportunities for aces. Now Washington and I covered the third round match between Philippoussis and Radek Stepanek of the Czech Republic, and he was kind of all over the place. He prevailed. He was a better guy on the day. But he started off erratically on serve, finally got a groove going and made it exciting right to the end. He just is much more consistent in all departments today against Andre Agassi. Not to mention his 37 ace count. That was a double grunter. Agassi took off and live breathing heavily and hit the winner.
40-15.
40-15, 1-all in the fifth set. Philippoussis winning the first, Agassi the next two. Philippoussis set number 4. That's long. Agassi holds to 2 games to 1 on serve in the fifth.
If you look back throughout
Agassi
this
leads
match,
2 games
it's
to
kind of
1,
been
final set.
back and forth between these two players. In the first set, it was Mark Philippoussis who was able to get the break of serve and playing a lot of points earlier in this match in the baseline. You see Agassi just trying to bail out of his point with a drop shot, but it's not good enough. Philippoussis with a backhand winner. In the second set, well, it was more Andre Agassi. He was the guy that got the 2 breaks of serve, and they're using the lob to back Philippoussis up and get him on his heels, and the forehand winner. And then in the tiebreak, it was all Andre Agassi. It all came down to the return of serve. But what happened in the fourth set? It was more Philippoussis, anchored by that first serve and slapping forehand winners like he does just there. So this is where we find ourselves, 2-1 in the fifth set. First serve percentage, we said Andre Agassi was going to have the higher percentage, but look at the aces. That has been a huge difference for Philippoussis throughout this match. They've both been able to break serve on 2 occasions. Also, look at the 73 winners.
Agassi 19-11 in matches. His record on the tour this year, ranked number 48, winning 3 more matches to get to the round of 16 here at Wimbledon. Agassi, for his part, playing in just 9 events coming into Wimbledon, but lost only 4 matches. Won the Australian Open, made the quarters at the French before being ousted by Coria. Winner of this great Wimbledon event back in 1992. Last year knocked out in the second round by Srichaphan, and eager to improve on that mark. Here he is in the round of 16. That's long. Philippoussis continues to be somewhat spotty on his volleying. Better in this round than he was in the third, but every now and then it fails him.
Well, the trick for Philippoussis is whenever his serve may go off in this set, does he continue to attack? Does he continue to serve and volley? Because I don't know if he can keep up that first serve percentage that he had in the fourth set, 81%.
Second serve for Agassi. He's been trying to make some hay there, and he does once again. Up 30.
And for Agassi, it's a matter of being patient.
30.
Let Philippoussis hit his aces and his service winners. His time is to capitalize is when he has a look at a second serve. He did it there. Agassi serving, standing a little deeper on this first serve.
Light for service.
And that's something that's been successful for him throughout this match, changing up his position a little bit when he's receiving serve, giving Philippoussis a different look.
There's the bullet.
15-30.
38 aces for Philippoussis.
Mark Philippoussis on the far left there. Excuse me. Nick Philippoussis. Mark's actually on the court serving right now.
Nick, his father and his coach.
30 all.
30 all. Mark Philippoussis with a couple of those today. Backhand overhead way up.
It's one of the toughest shots in tennis because you have very little power, and even little less power when you leave the ground and you're up in the air. You have no leverage.
40-30.
Yeah, and Philippoussis.
Delicate little drop volley, and they're even at 2.
New balls, please.
Fifth set.
As successful as Philippoussis has been on his own serve throughout the match, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I've kind of said that I wouldn't mind seeing him try to take it to Andre a little bit. You know, when it gets down to times like this, 2-all in the fifth set, very few, you don't get a lot of opportunities to break serve. And if he gets a second serve, I'd still like to see him try to come in a little bit. I mean, in his mind, he knows he's serving well, and he knows he can hold serve, but is he going to be able to get the break of serve in this fifth set?
Agassi with his new racket to go with the new tennis balls now in play.
Agassi, one of the few guys out there on tour changing rackets with each ball change. Typically that fresh racket, and he'll have a bunch of them. He'll have 8 or 10 rackets out there. That fresh racket will be a little bit tighter for those newer balls. After 7 games, those strings will be a little looser on your racket.
Two all, 15 love, second serve.
I can't stress to you how important a match like this is for Philippoussis, considering where he was with all of his potential earlier in his career, and now here he is post 3 surgeries, not even sure if he was ever going to play again. Trying to get to the quarterfinals of what, you know, I consider his best surface, grass.
Game Agassi.
Agassi holds 3 games to 2 on serve in the 5th and final. Court 1 at Wimbledon. Tim Ryan and Mal Washington under pleasant skies here after some rain this morning in London town. Mark Philippoussis, who has only beaten Andre Agassi once in 7 tries. That was the first time they met. Agassi has won the last 6 times. 2-3 on serve in the 5th and final set.
That is a tremendous volley from Philippoussis. And this volley isn't floating. Take a look at this. He gets in, he's on the service line, it's deep. Yeah, I have the backhand. Geez, a better pass from Agassi. Can't teach that. You have it or you don't.
Love 15. Second serve for Agassi to look at. It's wide, he missed it wide.
Could not tell you how big of a miss that is for Agassi. He does a good job to make Philippoussis stretch again. And look at this. Philippoussis is actually moving to his right. And he just misses.
All. Got that one. Laser to the corner.
Looks like he got a little aggression out on that backhand. Just upsetted himself that he doesn't have 3 break chances right now.
15, Alexander Popp of Germany advances to the quarterfinals over Rokas of Belgium. Roger Federer, one of the favorites here, straight sets over Lopez of Spain, and Jonas Bjorkman, the Swede, over Max Murny. That's a good win for Bjorkman against the hard-serving Max Murny from Belarus.
30 all.
39 aces.
That's long.
40.
Great point, Agassi.
Give Agassi credit again, getting that ball down at the feet of Philippoussis on a serve that came in at 115 miles an hour. They've each broken twice, but look at all those break points. They've each squandered.
Another second serve. Agassi's been feeding on them.
This is the question. Does Philippoussis serve and volley here? I think he does.
Long.
Deuce.
Agassi absolutely killed it. But it's long. Back to deuce.
I'm telling you, that was a gutsy play. Not that he served and volleyed Philippoussis, but he basically hit 2 first serves there. One of them missed. The second one went in.
120 miles an hour on the second.
Ooh, fortunate for Agassi there. He was moving to his left, covering the serve up the tee. He had read that one wrong.
Too good from the server. 125 down the center line.
Advantage Philippoussis.
Point from 3-all for Philippoussis. 1 break point saved in this game.
Back for service.
Another second serve opportunity for Agassi. He got it. Back to deuce.
Look at this second serve. Look at the placement. It's close to the line, close to the service line. And Philippoussis is not even able to make it to the service line.
First serve return. Miss on the volley. Second break point for Agassi.
Advantage Agassi.
That's the first point that I've seen Philippoussis get a little tight. I mean, that ball didn't hit anywhere near the center of the racket. Remember on the last break point, 120 miles an hour he hit on his second serve.
And Agassi got that jammed in a little on the lower part of the string. Didn't get a real clean swack at it.
That's more of a percentage play from Philippoussis. 103 on that second serve.
Deuce again. 2 break points saved by the big man. Oh, that's a good serve down the center line. A little hop off the grass. Game point again. See Andre looking at the grass where the ball hit.
Philippoussis 40 aces on the day. Whenever he hits 30 or more, he is 9-0 in his career.
Game, Philippoussis.
41, Philippoussis holding, shaking off 2 break points. And
15.
Agassi pretty much ran through this ball. He wanted so badly to make sure he could just tuck it into the open court. Missed it wide. That last game
His turn to
resonated.
sweat bullets now.
This is a hangover.
Yes.
Disappointment of not breaking. Now love 30.
That is an absolutely fantastic point there. And Philippoussis was doing absolutely everything he could do to hang in there, try to take the offensive. Agassi just wouldn't let him off the hook. Not surprised. He's just going to walk around that baseline, give himself a little time here to get some air in the lungs.
And again, how quickly the atmosphere changes. And again, it's Agassi on that high wire. And now the Aussies begin to cheer on court 1. The break in the 5th to Philippoussis. You're starting to see a lot more Australian flags creep down near the court. You're starting to hear some oi oi chants. A large Australian population here in London, and now they're starting to think that their man can pull this off. Agassi wants to say not yet.
Love 15.
Well, that's as good a way as you can say it. Off a big first serve. Not this time, both lines. A mere 42 aces.
And he continues to be so physically and mentally fit. I'm just not sure anyone, including Agassi, expected that. Through 5 sets. Pretty gnarly 99-mile-an-hour serve up and out, and Agassi still had the racket control.
He knew he had to get that ball down low if you're going to win that point. He was way off the court. He's hit 2 great returns, and he hasn't touched the other 3 serves.
40-30.
That's his 11th double fault. And it keeps a pulse going for Agassi.
11 double faults, but 4 times as many aces.
Pulse just quickened.
So did Philippoussis.
That's unbelievable.
You can't sit there and tell me he's not the greatest returner of all time.
Advantage Agassi.
Here's his chance to break right back.
Thank you. Thank you. Deuce.
That ball slicing away from Agassi at 125 miles an hour. It catches the back of the line. You don't get that up extra couple inches like you do in baseball either, Ted. You know, umpire's less forgiving in tennis.
But a service.
Jimmy Connors was long considered the best returner of serve, but he wasn't facing 135-mile-an-hour serves.
I only hit it like 134.
Remember.
That serve almost went over the baseline.
Double. Second in the game. Second break point.
Advantage Agassi.
Neither man has been able to, in this match, to take real advantage of those opportunities. Good serving, crucial situations by both.
Advantage Philippoussis.
Aces 45 and 46. But Philippoussis 1 game away.
Philippoussis leads 5 games to 3. Final set.
It's got to be discouraging when you return as well as Agassi did that game and still not break. He had 3 or 4 incredible returns.
Thank you. Quiet, please. Thank you. 15 love.
Agassi's only goal right now is to force Philippoussis to serve that well one more time.
Love. But for service.
Philippoussis will do well just to go for a winner now. Just get this win it or lose it. Don't stay out there too long. Steel yourself for the next game.
Philippoussis' last game, he had 5 aces and 2 service winners.
Agassi holds. We'll come back to see if Philippoussis can pull off the upset. Mark Philippoussis, after his 3rd knee surgery 18 months ago, was told by doctors he would likely not be able to play competitive tennis again. He was in a wheelchair during his rehab.
Thank you. Quiet, please. Thank you.
And here he is serving for the match against Andre Agassi.
Love 15.
It just shows you right there, you stick your racket out. I mean, that ball hit the line. Hit with obviously a lot of pace. Agassi just hoping it will go in. And there's this volley he should have made and didn't.
What's amazing about Philippoussis is that he has served better in the 4th and the 5th sets than he did in the 2nd and the 3rd.
And what about this? And Agassi's had 2 breakpoint chances in each of Philippoussis' last 2 serve games. The most important match of Philippoussis' career would be this win here, and he will richly deserve it if he can pull it off.
And there he got away with a 2nd serve. A good one.
That's a pretty good 2nd serve. It's out. Just missed.
40-15. Thank you. Second match, Philippoussis, 3 sets to 2, 6-3, 2-6, 6-7, 6-3, 6-4.
moment for Mark Philippoussis. Disappointment for Andre. The second straight match he ran into a big bomber. And despite the fact he was up 2-1, Philippoussis, his serve seemed to get better. 46 aces. And the Aussies, who've had little to cheer about with Hewitt going out early, still have someone. And the Aussies will be in full force, you know, on Wednesday. And for Andre, another disappointing goodbye.